Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're having a great day. So, we got a great episode coming up of the Soul Truth Conversation Show today, which I'm super excited about. So we're on episode 5. If you haven't caught episodes 1 to 4, then go to my YouTube channel, which is the Soul Truth Conversation Show, and all those other episodes are in there, and that's where you can find your replays, or just go back through my feed here on Facebook, and I will also you will also be able to find it in there as well. So today, yes, we've got the beautiful Victoria Welsh. So hopefully she's going to be jumping on with us very, very soon. So yeah, if you're there, Victoria, just let me know. And if anybody else is watching with us, then please drop in, say hello, let us know that you're there. Just, talk through, have a conversation. If you've got any questions for myself or Victoria during the show or afterwards, just put them in there and we'd love to come back and continue that conversation with you. So who am I? I'm Claire Chapman. I'm an empowered channel, and I literally help women to, step back into their truth. I love this word, like step back into their truth and own their authentic identity. So that's what I love to do. I'm a mum. I'm, live with my fiance here in the UK and just living the dream, living life to the max. And so that I see Victoria's here. So I'm going to bring Victoria on today. Let's just see, are you there? Sorry, Victoria, do you want to, I can't seem to bring you on. Do you want to see if you can, see if you can bring yourself on? Why won't that let me come in? So, we don't want to invite you. Oh yeah, we can invite. Let's see if we can invite. That's inviting you to watch. Okay. Victoria, I'm not sure. Try again, Victoria. See if it can request. See if you can rest to bring you. I know you requested. It's all disappeared. I was like, no, you were there, and then it all disappeared. Try again, Victoria, or jump off, jump back on. See if that helps. But yeah, I wanted to do this episode today with Victoria Welsh because I've been with Victoria for, I don't know, a few years now. We've been in containers together. I've been in Victoria's container, and we just have this epic energy. It's gone. I know this is what happens. Maybe jump off, Victoria, jump back on, and I've had that work before. Oh, here we go. I got you. So I can send you an invite to bring you on. It worked. Here she is.
Yeah. That's what I had to do. I had to leave and come back. So I had to leave the entire live stream and come back.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why it does that, but it does it. So we're all good. I was like, awesome. Right, let's just get set up. How are you today, Victoria?
I'm so good. I just got back from the beach. I did a morning meditation at the beach this morning, and it was so magic also. I'm all refreshed and good with sand in my toes. I'm here.
I'm jealous. Although I am here, we've got the woods. We got the woods and the field. So you're on the water, we're on the land. So
yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, I wanted to bring Victoria onto this show because just her energy is just friggin' amazing. I love you, Victoria. You know that. But you are a lady that has done this whole walk on wealth, having it, not having it, and all the consciousness around it and all that beautiful stuff, which we will dive into. And I think so many women and men, but we talk to women on this show, could really, really benefit from your story, from my story, and our energies combined, because everybody wants to be wealthy, right? Or most people want to be wealthy. They want more money, but we don't always understand it. There's so many old paradigms attached to it. So I know this is going to be a really, really juicy one today. But before I blurt on any more, Victoria, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, beautiful. Hold on, I was just sharing it into my groups. So a couple groups. I was sharing it into it right now because everyone needs this conversation. First of all, happy International Women's Day to you and all the women watching this. I did a profound meditation this morning inside my group, just bringing us back to compassion and love, not needing to know someone else's story, just compassion and divine love for each other. So I just wanted to say that I have so much love for you, Claire. Thank you for having me. And Welcome to people watching on the live stream and on the replay. My name is Victoria Welsh. I'm an intuitive business mentor, but I'm an a wealth energetics expander, or the consciousness of wealth expander. And I have a brand called the Soul Rich Life brand, which is all about the living a deeply rich life in your business, in your life, and in your abundance. So that's who I am. You can find me in the online space here.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, the Soul Truth Conversation Show is all about, getting back to that truth, not what we think is true, but truth. I would love to know, what was life like? Because I know that you're exploring and you've entered into more of the truth of who you are and the truth of wealth. And I know it's a forever going, cycle. We get deeper and deeper the more and more that we go in. But for me, like, before I discovered my truth, I knew I was heavily conditioned. And you look back now, don't you, on your past, and you can see exactly why the things happened the way that they did. Because I wasn't truthful to myself. I was very much a people pleaser. I was scared of my own energy, power of a manifester. Like, I didn't know all this stuff. I didn't really know the spiritualism. I wasn't connected to myself. And so that had massive effects to me in my life. What was it like for you, Victoria, when you weren't living in your truth? Let's go with you before we start delving into the wealth. But you not living in your truth, what did that look like for you? And what then were the effects of that in your life? And then I'd love to move into, like, the more you've stripped back and you've gone into your truth, living, who you are. I talk about the authentic identity, like really owning your authentic identity, who you are. And then we can perhaps look at, the differences, how that shows up in life, and just how has that transition like helped you? How do you feel now? And all that yumminess that comes in between.
Yeah. Okay. So I had what I would call my spiritual awakening in like 2012, when a lot of people had spiritual awakenings. And it was a new way. It was almost like a rebirth. People call it being born again in religion. I felt like it was a rebirth for myself. Like, I suddenly did not know who I was, because in my previous lifetime, in this lifetime,
Yeah.
I only identified in ego. I didn't know myself outside of ego. I didn't know my soul. I didn't know what my soul was here to do, or that I was being guided and led, the entire time. So the awakening happened, and I believe that, like, I was kind of dipping my foot in, like dipping my toe into spirituality, learning a little bit about the power of intention, the power of manifestation, the power of the art of gratitude. Meditation became a big thing in my life. But I still didn't know the truth of my soul, the truth of me. And so as this, I want to call it growth, expansion, was happening, as this growth and expansion was happening, I didn't know yet that life was happening for me.
Yeah.
And how that showed up and how it then manifested in my reality is that I believed that, like, I was having to repay karma, or that bad things were happening to me, or that I was in suffering because, I was so programmed from the church that I grew up in.
Right.
It was that I had sinned.
Right.
And so in sin, you then have to repent and pay your debt, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
as my spiritual expansion was happening, my programming was that all these things that were showing up in my reality were a result of my behaviors of the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until 2 years ago, last month, 2 years ago, February 2020, I had a massive experience. I call it my kitchen floor moment, of where I was down to $200 in my bank account. I'm a single mom. I had no means, no ways to pay anything. My friend had just shown up to pay 2 months rent for me. My business was not doing well. I was frustrated. I was scared. I was in constant fear that, you know, money was not going to show up, that it was that visceral response every time I opened my bank account of a kick in the gut. And it was like, it felt like my lowest of low, because I had already gone through foreclosure of my home 6 years prior. I had already gone through bankruptcy. I had already gone through having my cars repossessed. I had already moved through what I thought was my financial downfall, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so this then shows up, and in that moment, you know, my son had been planning a birthday party and I had $200 in the bank, and I knew enough about money mindset to know that I didn't want to pass my blueprint on to him.
Yeah.
And so as he was planning his birthday party, and I was adding up the numbers in my head, because he's like, oh, Jason's going to come, and Justin from court number 2's coming, and so and so. And I'm literally sweating beads, like sweating beads. I'm like, oh my God, my stomach is rumbling, and I'm adding it up, and I'm like, $300, $400, $500. Like, everyone he's inviting, the place he wanted me to take them to, it was $25 per kid.
Right.
And so I'm adding it up, and I'm getting sick to my stomach. And my son comes in and he's like, isn't this so cool, Mom? I'm going to have the best birthday ever. And I was just like, absolutely, buddy. We are going to have the best birthday ever. And when he fell asleep that night, I just hit the kitchen floor. And it was almost that, like, why? Like,
right.
God, haven't I suffered enough? I'm mid-40s at this point.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone to rely on. My parents are not wealthy by any means.
Yeah.
I didn't have a partner. It was like, why am I still stuck in this struggle? And it felt like almost like money equated to my value. Mm-hmm. And it felt like I was a complete failure. I had failed at life. I had failed my children. I had failed. So I was equating my money with my value at this time.
Yeah. And I think so many women can relate to that, Victoria. I think that's probably one of the worst connections that women can do, is their worth and value attached to money.
Yeah.
And especially the coaching industry, when you're an entrepreneur, then you add like number of clients, money relates to your worth and your value.
Yes. And it was, when there was money in the bank, I was happy. I was excited. And when there was not money in the bank, I was stressed out. I was physically ill. I was like scattering all around, trying to figure something out. What am I going to sell next? What am I going to put out next? What am I going to create next? Like, it was this scattered energy. And I literally call my story a rags to remembrance story. Like, it's not a rags to riches. It's a rags to remembrance. You speak of your authentic identity. I call it my divine identity. Right. It was a rags to remembrance. Like, I was on a quest to remember my divine identity. Yeah. And after hitting the kitchen floor that night, like, I just, it was almost like, I tell this story all the time, and I remember that night, it being like, I mean, I literally had tears on the floor. Like, tears were all over the kitchen floor, and I'm there on my knees, like in a fetal position, like crying and asking why me? Why is this happening? Why does this keep out? And it was almost like the scene from Eat, Pray, Love, when Elizabeth is in the bathroom on the kitchen floor, and I was like, okay, I asked why. Now are you going to answer? Because God answers her on the kitchen floor, and is like, with this bellowing voice of, go to bed, Elizabeth. Like, go back to bed. Just go back to bed. And I'm like, are you going to answer me or not? I'm asking you questions. Like, I'm at my lowest point right now. I'm on my knees begging. Tell me. And I heard my own voice like say, get up. Get up. Nobody is coming to save you. You have got to do this work.
Yeah.
And that night I just went to my bookshelves and I grabbed every book that I had on, I didn't want books on money. I didn't want someone to teach me how to make money. It was never about the money. It was about my worth and owning my worth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I knew enough to know that money was a byproduct of doing this inner work. And that's why I kept saying why. I was like, I've done so much work. I've been through so much. Like, how much more shadow work can I do?
My God. Yeah. And
You know?
so many women who's been on like the healing journey, you just go like, how much more? You know,
Right.
it is that, yeah.
Yes. Like, how much more damn shadow work do I do? And I was like, there's got to be programs and patterns that are running that are keeping this money away. There has to be. Like, that was the only thought that came to me. Like, I know we are always manifesting, whether we're unconsciously manifesting or consciously manifesting. So I was like, there got to be programs and patterns running that I don't have conscious awareness of. And so I grabbed every book on my shelf that I can. It was like 6 different books. And I spent the next 6 days, I'm talking, I only went to the bathroom and the kitchen. And if I had to pick up my kid, I would pick up my kid. But a friend of mine had said to me, because I reached out to a group of friends, just like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And a friend of mine said, record yourself. You're on the verge of a huge breakthrough. Record what you're going through. And so I did. It was like the transformational diaries that were on my phone. You can see over the course of those 6 days where it finally starts clicking and I finally get it. And it was the programming. I was keeping the wealth, the money, the clients, I was keeping them from me with my thoughts of, and I'd been programmed with when I was a kid about money, with my thoughts of, you got to work harder to make more. Like, you got to keep working hard.
Yeah.
And it was only in revealing, like bringing it to the surface, bringing it to the light of day. Like, I had a major shift in my consciousness after those 6 days, but I still spent months after that working out now everything that had been revealed to me.
Right. And it does, you can have those instantaneous, like the light bulb moments that like shock you and wake you up, don't they? And you're like, but then there's like the unraveling and the continuous, the tales. And I remember seeing your videos and there was something very similar that I went through back in August, where I've gone through the same things, have the money, don't have the money, have the money, don't have the money. And 8-9 years ago, I had just before that, I had everything: the man, the kids, the country cottage, brand new BMWs out on the front, out the front of the house, multiple ones of them, because we had easy access to BMWs. Like, we had the money, and I was like soulfully dead. So to me, relating to money, like, my belief was the more money you have, like, then you become soulfully dead. And I went the opposite and was like loving who I was, skin. So it's like one extreme to the other. And I remember last year, and I'm sure we were together with some of this, I did something very similar to you. Simon and I were on holiday, and we were in this beautiful little like yurt type thing. It was stunning. The weather was stunning. And the first morning we woke up and we looked at each other, and we just sat in that peaceful moment and looked around us. And I had tears, and I turned to Simon, he had tears, and I was like, what's going on here? And he's like, I'm just sat in awe. Like, it was breathtaking to see where we were at. And what was amazing was we'd both done so much work on ourselves. We were in our heights of fitness. We were just on top of our game with who we were, loving who we were, that I realized in that moment the world was reflecting back to me all the yumminess and all that deconditioning, all that healing. Hi everybody who's joining.
Hi.
that I then went, well, hold on, in 2 days' time, we got to pay the bills. And we had no frigging idea how to do it. Just 1 week. That's all we were like, if we could just get through 1 week. And we had something like £10 in the account. Like, we even took our own food to go on holiday. Like, we couldn't go to the pub and eat lunch and have a beer. Like, the money was just not there. And this was just August of last year. And we kept going through these patterns. And I did like you. I was like, hold on. If I can feel so yummy looking and being where I'm at with absolutely hardly anything around me but pure nature, loving who I am, being in this best moment, that's reflecting that back. So what the hell is reflecting back to me about money? There's got to be something in this, because the money wasn't there. Simon hit the biggest fear. I remember I had to literally hold him because he was shaking, like middle of the night fear. How are we going to pay these bills? We're going to lose the house. I'm just like, cool, we got this. Like, everything's amazing. And so it was that real contrast. And I went head deep like you with money. And we were driving back home from holiday. And I was like, right, Esther Hicks. Like, come on, Abraham, money. Abraham, Spotify, anything to do with money. Play this through. And I just heard the question, why can't I have money? So anyone struggling right now, write this one down. Why can't I have money? And I said, Simon, stop the car. We're on the middle of this mountain. I said, stop, got my little right. Why can't I have money? And the unconscious stuff came out. It's soul destroying, energy draining, energy sucking, hard work, because it was an unconscious belief, but it had linked me back to when I was working.
Yes.
And at the end of that job, it almost destroyed me, like depression, bipolar. So I'd made that connection. But when you're self-aware, like yourself, and you see the good things reflected back, you have to take that radical responsibility and go, what the hell is in there? And then I did 30K in like 6 hours. It was like ridiculous. So we hold the money. The money wants to come into us, right? And then it's us that's going,
you're either retracting or repelling. You're either attracting or repelling. That's it. And I read something yesterday that is now, I forgot I had read this so long ago, and it has now become like my prayer every day, my mantra every day, because I just experienced this at the beach. This whole, the abundance that you're speaking of, like in love with life. Like I just tuned in to the frequency of abundance, the birds chirping around me, the sound of the waves, the sunshine on my face. Like we have to get out of our heads and drop into our bodies and into the frequency of abundance. Because when I said to you, I found my divine identity, your divine identity, watching everyone's divine identity is abundant. It's that all-knowing, all-encompassing, omnipotent, omnipresent life force energy that runs in and through all things. It is so abundant. It's lavish riches of the earth runs in and through you. That is your natural order, your natural state of being.
mm-hmm.
What brings the fear, the doubt, the insecurity is the programming. Because if you could return to being an infant, if you could return, you don't have fears around money or if anything's going to show up. You just trust and know that you are this precious treasure that the universe will rise to meet you, and you'll be changed, you'll be fed, you'll be taken care of. Like that, your divine identity, that your soul, your essence is so powerfully, abundantly rich that the only thing that is keeping you from tuning in, from attracting that, is your programming. And so the thing that I read yesterday that I tuned back into was money, MONEY, stands for my own natural energy yield. Whatever energetic space I'm in is what I'm attracting. Yeah. If I'm in a space of abundance and gratitude, because gratitude's the highway there, right? So if I'm in a space of abundance and gratitude, and I'm tuning into this beautiful, peaceful, life force energy within me. And you all know it. You've all experienced it, whether you've experienced it in church, or if you've experienced it in a meditation, or you've experienced it somewhere. You have experienced it, right? And so tuning back into that and remembering, this is my soul signature. Abundance is my natural state. And so being in that, the universe has to match me.
Right.
It has to. So what happens is we get so set on, my clients are my source and supply. My paycheck is my source and supply. I've got to get more clients. I've got to put more things out. When the truth of the matter is, that energy, your own personal energy, is your source and supply.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so something that came up for me recently, that downloaded, and I use in the word birthing, and my clients seem to be hooking onto this quite nicely, which I love. It works for me. Staying in that state, like the word birthing for me keeps coming up. And what I realized is expansion is through the birthing of what already is. So for example, I don't think I've got it with me, but I literally channeled it through and drew it out. Like, if we want the millions, that is the expansion of the penny, or in your case, the cent. You know, it's own. You can't expand something that isn't there. There's something there. Okay, so even if there's this penny, this cent, we can expand through that penny. And when we expand through the penny, that gets to then be the expansion of, so the bigger money comes through. If we're ignoring the cent and we're trying to go round the penny, round the cent to hit to the millions, and we're ignoring the cent, you can't expand through nothing. Something has to be there for it to expand through.
Love that.
And so it's like birth through what already is, birthing through whatever, you know, is already there.
Yes.
And for somebody who doesn't even have a cent, like, let's just take somebody who doesn't even have any of this, like, well, Clara, don't even have a penny. Like, how do I expand through that? This is where everything comes back to what is already within us. Like, the cent is just the physical manifestation of a feeling, or of a, you know, whatever we're making that thing mean. So it's like, well, then I realized, like, I was saying the mantras, I'm a wealthy woman, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. And it was like, no, I am wealth.
You are wealth. Right.
I am wealth. So from that place of I am wealth, and we get to create for ourselves whatever we want wealth to mean, whatever we want wealth to feel, that from here, that then gets to be expanded through us, whether it's a cent, $100, 10,000, million, it doesn't matter. Then from that place, we can come through and expand through what already is. And what that's allowed me to do, and my clients to do, is one, get back into the present moment, get back into that now. It allows the gratitude to naturally come through. So you're grateful for the cent, the $100, the $10, whatever it is, because now that's where you get to expand and birth through. And it was through this that I realized, like, and again, we talk about, you know, detaching the need. Whenever I try and manifest when I need something, I never manifest anything. When I manifest with taking that need away, it just friggin' shows up.
Okay, I want to expand on what you just said even more. Okay, so if we are this infinite prosperity already, we are this energy of abundance, right? And this energy of abundance, it is like source consciousness already within us, right? That is the divine identity. Source consciousness already within you, right?
Yeah.
And that energy of abundance is always in motion. It's always radiating, constantly radiating from this source within. All right. And that then is what flows out to appear as whatever your needs and desires are. So whatever you determine wealth is for you, whatever you determine, like this emanation that radiates outward, then appears in physical form. Years ago, many centuries ago, it was stones and silks and spices, right?
Yeah.
And now it just happens to be dollar cents and
Yeah.
cryptocurrency and whatever. But we have to tune back into the source. The source is what generates it, what we expand through, right?
Yeah.
And that source is source energy.
And like you said, I was just going to say exactly the same thing. Like, and when you break down what source is within us, source is energy. You can't lose it. You can't gain it. It just is. We just transmute it. And so when we have this energy that comes down and through us, we are like I'll go back to my engineering days now, but we are the transformer. So like when we have, 240 volts and then we want to turn that into a 12 volt, we have this transformer that drops the energy level, so we can transform the energy through. It's exactly the same as us. Energy comes into us, and it's only how we transform that and how we add meaning to that changes it into whatever the form then gets put out from us that gets matched on the other side. So when the energy is coming through us, and say we've got our body is like this meaning translator or transformer, if the energy is coming through and then we're transforming that in here as a lack, then that's what we send out is lack. And that's where the law of attraction gets met. This is where the vibration gets met. And this is where so many people, me included in the past, used to say, I'd be in this victim mode. Why is this happening to me? A bit like you were saying, like the moment on the floor, why? And the polar opposite to, victim mode is opportunity. And I've got a client right now that was struggling with this, like everything's happening to me, and it's like, no, it's happening for you. It's an opportunity. And so we have choice, we have opportunity. And when people realize that this body is a transformer, and we can make that energy and transform that energy into whatever we want it to be, otherwise it's just energy, that we really do get to create and to expand out exactly what we freaking want.
Yes, we do. And that's it. So here's, okay, so to bring it all back full circle, when I was on the floor, the kitchen floor, my mindset of my conditioning, my programming of this, for all the years of this is my karmic debt that I'm paying. I must have, sinned so much, meaning karma. I've created so much karma that I've had to pay it back by doing this. I was in victim mode, thinking that I was a victim of these circumstances and it was just something that had to happen. The truth of the matter is I was creating my reality, because literally conditions don't exist. There's no such thing as conditionality. They do not exist. We create the conditions. We create the conditions for them to exist, right? And so when we change our point of attraction, right? Change our point of attraction from this is happening to me to this is happening for me, then we get to ask better questions, like you did. Like, why isn't the money there? Or what was the question? Like, what?
Why can't I have money?
Why can't I have money? Okay. So that's what it became, a self-inquiry. Okay. How am I keeping money from myself? In what ways am I blocking money? What things were said to me when I was younger that I have subscribed to? Like, what things am I still holding on as my truth?
Yeah.
What have I been holding into my body? What have I made my truth that wasn't even my truth? Because if I return to source consciousness, to my divine identity, I'm an infinite being that can neither be began or destroyed, right? Never started or destroyed. I'm the infinite. My consciousness is an infinite presence.
Yep.
And it is holy and pure and abundant. So my human is keeping money from me. I want to know what is happening up here, what is going on in this programming. And so the ways to abundance, or to physical abundance, for it to show up physically, is to 1, 2, 3, watch your thoughts, shift your beliefs, and then practice gratitude, because gratitude, and I'm not talking say thankful, say thank you. Gratitude is a feeling of appreciation in your body. Gratitude is not I am thankful for, and you just, you know, like your Thanksgiving thanks.
Yeah.
No, it
gratitude
is
every morning. It's like, oh, I'm grateful for this, grateful for this, grateful for this, and your body hasn't changed. It's like an affirmation, isn't it? It's like, unless you have that emotional feeling impact within the body, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, you have got to shift,
work.
because then we're working on the three things are the thoughts, the beliefs that you're holding in there, the thoughts that I can then start rewiring, the beliefs I want to reveal, right? And the third thing is my frequency, because in order to shift to a new frequency to match the vibration of abundance, I have to feel abundant now. I have to feel safe without money now. I have to feel good in my body, in my surroundings, in exactly where I am now, and trust and believe that literally this happened for me exactly when it was supposed to happen for me, and that everything else that's coming to me will unfold in divine timing.
Yeah.
Instead of rushing the process. But, okay, now that I got this awareness, I want to be there. Like, I want to be there. I want to be there now. We have to be in full gratitude for exactly where we are now, for the lessons, for the things that have come, for even when I lost my house. Like, I had to be in gratitude that that was a lesson for me, and that it really did work out in my highest good, because I was upside down in my house.
Right. And I think this is what, just for example, you know, so what Simon's going through the other day, he felt like crap. He really did. And he was just like, ah. And then the anger and the compound, you know, how you compound your emotions and stuff. And it was like, you know, you can be a victim to this, or we can look at the opportunities. What are the opportunities from this? Oh, I get to see what's coming up. Okay, I get awareness. I get to this. I get to that. And when you, like you say, look at that situation with the house and stuff. Okay, what are the opportunities? Well, I can get another house. I don't need to stay here, like this and that. And you start to open up, shifting the energy. And it's perspective, isn't it? Everything. I love perspective, but everything is perspective. So what happened then? You were on the floor, your son was doing this big lavish party, you're going, oh my gosh. You spend the next 6 days, you're going through, you're finding these beliefs, you find these beliefs, you find some of the beliefs, you start to shift these beliefs, like, and I love what you were saying about, you know, your truth wasn't your truth, it was your parents' truth. I like to take that to the next level. A lot of people believe in what's true, and I think true and truth are two different things. I think true is what we believe to be true, or whether it's come from parents, environment, or whatever. And when I talk about truth, truth is like like you say, the source. Like, that is truth. Like, you know, you are this abundant.
Highest truth.
Yeah. The highest truth. There is only one truth, and it's the highest truth. But what you believe to be true, because a lot of people will,
is perspective and perception.
True, right?
Yeah. Complete perception.
Yeah. So you have
through the lens through which we've been programmed is true. Right.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So the beautiful thing about this is, after 6 days of, I mean, when I say nonstop, not coming up for air, like, I was relentless. And if anyone's inside my Facebook group and you go and watch, there is, my transformational story is tagged inside my group. I did a video compilation of it.
I love it.
On the 6th day, my dearest friend was spending the night, because at the time, what I was doing was, okay, what can I create? What can I sell? What can I put out? How can I make money right now? Oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, I applied for medical, I applied for food stamps, and I got it. Like, I had to feed my son, to feed myself. I did what I needed to do. I was still taking action, but I was still in that masculine energy of, like, what can I sell? What can I sell even of my belongings? I was like listing stuff and selling it on OfferUp. Like, I was doing anything in the immediate, because that's the state of mind I was in, to bring money into the house. But then on the 6th night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she was spending the night there, and we had just thought of a new offer to put out for me to sell. I literally shot straight up, and I was like, I get it. I fucking get it now. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. It was like this big, But you know what I realize now looking back? Do you know what I got? Do you know what I got? I got that I was creating it. And that changed the game for everything. Like I understood how I was creating my own circumstances. I understood that I was thinking broke thoughts. So therefore my reality could only be broke.
Right.
I was thinking like, why everybody else and not me? How come everybody else gets to succeed and I don't get to succeed? How come that person and I'm not? I was in such victim mentality. I was that girl that would get on the live stream with my coach and be like, oh, I already know that. Oh, like my mindset was so, and then your mind shuts down and you learn nothing new, right? I was in that lack mentality. And there was nothing you could tell me, right? I already
know it type thing.
I know
but
it, right?
there is like, and I think a lot of women, because there'll be women hearing all of this, hearing what we're saying, going, yeah, I know that. And I think there's two different knowings. There's the knowing, I've heard this so many times, I know this, it's in my conscious brain, but it's not until it's in your body, you know, where you just go, I know. Like
I heard
if somebody
T. Harv Eker said, if you don't know it until you are living it. That's what T. Harv Eker said. You don't know it until you're living it. So don't say you know it. And I was like, okay, all right, called out.
Yeah, because we do know it, because we've heard it so many times, or we've read it, so I know it. But until that comes down, that is in, like, it's in your cells, isn't it? You're just like, you know, at that cellular level. So then, like, when you have that your aha moment, like, you knew in every ounce of your body, oh my gosh, I am creating this.
Yes.
I'm creating this, which then means I get to create something different.
That's exactly why I was like, I get it. Yeah. Like, I get to create something new. If I've created this reality, oh my God. And you know, like, again, I'll go to from my spiritual awakening. I had that awakening that I was creating a reality in which I was only living in ego. So then I started learning all these practices and started creating a reality in which I felt peace and surrender and trust and belief. And so I thought I knew, right? I thought I was creating a reality that was peaceful and trusting and surrendering and loving. And I also, in that trusting, loving, peaceful serenity, thought that there was a program running that I needed to be like a barefoot hippie and broke if I was spiritual.
Yeah, right? Because that's the paradigm. That's what we've witnessed. And, you know, how many gurus have we seen that's like multi-millionaires working for themselves or whatever? And a lot of, even one of my clients today was like, Claire, I'm really worried because you're like this real out there spiritual woman and I'm like more masculine and I don't think I can be as floaty as you and as feminine as you. And I'm just like, without the masculine love, nothing's gonna happen. Like, you get to be both. And I'm some badass MF, do you know what I mean? I am that, but that stands because that's my authentic identity. Like, source pulls through me. I don't need to sit there going with my legs crossed on top of the Himalayas. Like, I get to wear what I want to wear. I get to show up in that badass energy. I get to create impact and, you know, really shake the world up. Spiritual is just knowing your truth and being an embodiment of that source divine energy. Yes. So it doesn't matter what you do before you even wake up. Like, I say this so many times, like, before I even open my eyes, I am wealth, I am abundant, I'm living, because I'm empowered, which to me means that I have my plug connected into source energy, like empowered. And a lot of people mix up empowered and powerful. Powerful is strength and strong and moving forward. Empowered is that more, I want to like go, like you are lit the F up effortlessly, without the force, without the hustle, that you're deeply connected in that way. And so I love what you're saying, like, yeah, we don't all need to be broke to be spiritual. You know, even that, is it spiritual? Do we label it spiritual?
Right.
Is it just, what is it? Like,
who are we serving
out.
being broke? That's how I had to ask myself. Who are you serving being broke? How are you helping the world? If you truly are here to raise the collective consciousness and you really want to do all these great things in the world, who are you serving being broke?
Yeah, you probably
no
feed
one.
birds.
No one. You're serving no one being broke.
Feed the birds.
So many things that we can do, and that's okay. There are some souls that did choose to come in this lifetime and not have financial wealth or not have, and that's not who I speak to.
Yeah.
Because they're already on their path and they are okay not having money.
Yeah,
I am speaking,
the earth.
right. And I love them and I respect them and I have so much honor for them, and that's their path. My soul path was to overcome wealth consciousness this time around. My soul path was to remove the codes of slavery, of scarcity and lack, and plug in to the abundance codes and the prosperity codes that are already within. That was my path. And so when I speak, when I teach, when I mentor, I'm speaking to the women, the men that are plugged into the scarcity codes right now. That's who I'm speaking to.
Yeah. I love it. So from that, moving forward, so you had this big, and this is what I love saying, is like, people, like, we are born, aren't we, on this castle, you know, in this huge castle with all this potential, but over time, through everything, conditioning, parents, things that go on, all our fears and doubts, we close off all the doors to the castle, and we're living in like this one tiny little basement room, and we're like, but it's not fair for us, and it's all right for them. And when you just whisper and you go, but you're the one with the key, you're the one that's locked all the other doors. Oh, so I can go and unlock them again? Yeah, just go and unlock the doors. Like, it gets to be that simple, not necessarily easy, but that's what you're saying, isn't it? Like, when you realize, oh my gosh, I'm doing this for myself, this means that I can find what's in there, reprogram, shift into a different perspective, dig into what was already there in terms of this limitless abundance. And then how was that your truth, your abundance, your wealth in that way? How from that moment did things start to change and shift for you?
So you know, when you have big expansions, how they say the universe will test you, right? Test, like meaning, did you really have that awareness? Did you really move through this? So 1 month after having my big aha, that I was like, oh, like, I know what to do now. Now, we have to know it in consciousness first. I had that transformation happen in my bedroom that night. I knew it in consciousness. In order for it to show up in physical form, there's a delay in time. Sometimes it can happen like that. Sometimes there's because my consciousness was like, oh, that's it. I'm going to be a multimillionaire now. Like, if I know how to do this, like, okay. Like, but there sometimes is a delay in those multi-millions coming. So I had to be like, okay, let's start where I am. However, 1 month later, my mom passed away. And while I was away taking care of my 85-year-old father, my home flooded. I didn't have renter's insurance. And by the time we made it home to Florida, in the Florida heat, we lost everything we owned to mold and mildew, with no insurance, with no coverage, no nothing. Now, one might have fallen back into old patterns of, why me again?
This again.
Have I not suffered enough? Have I not? But in the time between my awakening of wealth consciousness to the time that my home and belongings were taken, I was doing the inner work. Even with my mom having passed away, even in my grief, I was still tending to self, devotion to self.
Yeah.
And in that time, I was learning the art of surrender. So when I learned about our house, I literally said to God, source, creator of the universe, funny, Okay, you're funny. I was like, all right, you're going to take my home and I'm homeless and all of my belongings. I said, I have high expectations for what you're going to bring to me. So show me what you got. Like, that was it. I was like, okay, I'm going to relinquish all this to you.
Yeah.
You must have a bigger plan that I could not even fathom.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. And sure enough, like, everything, so, because I stayed every morning, I would wake up and I would be missing my mom, and I would be like, I would cry, and I would be sad. My human was sad. I was mourning the loss of, you know, our things. I was mourning the loss of our house. I was mourning the loss of our neighborhood where my son had just finally met all these friends. And what I realized, what is in this opportunity for me? What is in this for me? First of all, money started pouring into us from donations, from people. Like, if God is my source and supply, if my inner connection, if my inner light is my source and supply, I was plugged in.
Yeah.
And more money was coming into us than I had been making in my business. Yeah. So I just started applying all of the principles of the consciousness of wealth, of I'm creating this reality. And if I'm either magnetizing or repelling it.
Yep.
And
yep.
It is, if I am this rich, lavish abundance, then I just need to continually every day tune into that. And so I would wake up and I would do gratitude and I would do prayers and I would say, who can I serve today and how would you have me serve them? That's what I would ask. Who can I serve today and how would you have me serve them? So that I could, while I was healing, give back in some way. And we ended up in a cottage on the beach, because COVID had just begun. We ended up in a cottage on the beach, fully furnished. We spent 9 months there. It was the shittiest little cottage, but it was the most beautiful location. I'm talking steps to the beach.
Yeah.
For less money than I had been paying in my apartment or my townhouse that flooded. We manifested
what we want.
And I healed in those 9 months. I deepened the art of surrender. I learned how to walk with so much trust, so much faith, so much belief. I healed my relationship with my mother on the other side. I connected with my mother on the other side. Like, I did so much work in those 9 months, so much inner work, that when it was time for us to move on, like, I was expanded. And in that time also, I was doing, like you said, the daily meditations and affirmations for wealth, but I was believing it this time because I was tuned in. And I would say, okay, I want to manifest $15,000 this month. And sure enough, like, a random $10,000 check showed up from when I got my car repossessed 9 years earlier. I mean, like, random stuff happened. And I just continued on that path of expansion until within 18 months of all of that happening, I had $30,000 cash months in my business.
Yeah.
And it was through the expansion and the growth, you know, it was growth. It was like, I was hitting 10K months, then 15K, and then 20K months. And like, each month it was just growing and growing and growing because I was expanding.
Yeah. And yeah, it is definitely rooted from the inside out. And that belief, that's why I say, like, when you know, like, you just know now in your body, you just know this stuff and you know what to do. And, you know, so many of my clients come to me because they're all on the external. And so they're trying to change everything on the external. And it's when you come back to that relationship and that knowing on the inside where things start to change. And that's where it gets to be fun. Like, honestly, when the stuff starts to fly up in ways and come to you in just like ways that blow your mind, it's so much more fun than how can I create this? What offer can I put out next? What should I be doing in this moment? It's like, and I had a lady actually in my inbox today asking this question, and I said, great question, I'll see if it comes into the live, we'll bring it in. It does. And her question was, she's going through some stuff right now, feeling really low, am I able to put out an offer? And I think this is exactly like what you were talking about, and we'll throw the word in duality. It's like we can be experiencing, you were experiencing grief, you were experiencing loss, you were experiencing, like, you know, the home and the things and your mom and all that kind of stuff, but you can still show up to serve, you can still show up to be in an offer. And I think the, you know, when we talk about integrity, is like when you're coming from that place, from that nice intention, rather than like what you were saying previously when you were showing up, and I've done this also, is, oh my God, what can I put out because I need to make the money? You know, you get to, especially a client I'm working with right now, you know, she's like, but I don't want to feel sad, I don't want to feel angry when I'm in these places. And it's like, actually, you get to show up, you get to receive, you get to serve, you get to offer in any of those emotions, because the emotions are just the emotions, as long as you're doing it from this place of integrity. And it's the same like when Simon had his stroke on the back end of last year. I would at night, you know, all day drive 2 hours return trip to go and see him in hospital. I might be lucky if I got a smile, you know, spend an hour or so, because of the COVID I had to return. I'd be in my house on my own. I would cry like a baby. What, you know, my fiance, I didn't know what's happening with him, he's had this brain bleed, and yet I was still serving clients, I was making some of my biggest money. And I love what you were saying, like, I do the same, as disconnect the human and the soul. The soul can still be leading even through when the human is hurting, and you've obviously had that experience as well.
I have. And what I would say to her is, we're so afraid to honor our emotions. We're so afraid to honor fear or sadness or anger. Our emotions, our body keeps score. So our emotions are showing us, leading us to what does not feel good for us. Now, when it comes to grief and loss, like, we have to honor that, or it will keep showing up. I mean, every emotion will keep showing up. But if it's anger and it's frustration over something, your emotions are leading you to something. So I would say honor the emotions and ask them, talk to them. What are they leading you to? What are they trying to tell you? But yes, we get to, this is the duality of life. We still get to show up and serve. Shift the frequency, honor the emotions, shift the frequency into, okay, even though I've had this experience today, how can I serve and how can I lead? And how can I offer something? Because our offers are actually gifts. If you look at your offers as gifts for expansion for others, you see it in a different way.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just reading a book at the minute by Bob Proctor.
I loved your video with him.
Oh, that was a wake-up call. Didn't sink into my body though. Oh, anybody who hasn't seen it, I went to Bob Proctor event 3 or 4 years ago, the Matrix 5-day Matrix event, and I was talking to him about money and going, but you know, when is enough? Like, when do you not overinvest? And he absolutely like nailed me, and he was just cutting down my stories, cutting down my programs, like cutting them off, and was proper going in for me in that way for my highest good. And he was the nicest man. But again, like, yeah, the shock was there, but it hadn't, I knew it, but I didn't know it. I hadn't had that embodiment. I didn't have the light bulbs. I didn't know where it was all coming from. Why did we bring up Bob Proctor? Oh yeah, reading the book. And he was talking about, you know, do something you love that will benefit somebody else. You will be a wealthy person. And you get to then stay integral with your soul. You're showing up for yourself. You're showing up and doing what feels good for you. And if you can benefit somebody else, and this is what I always say, is like, you know, our business is just an expansion of who we are. Like, I would do what I love doing for myself. Like, I don't need clients or a business in that way, because I love doing the inner work. I love empowering myself. I love doing the untangling of the programmings, and I love the breakthroughs, and I love going through the turbulence as well, you know, when we're having those shake-up moments to get to the other side of growth and evolution. I will do that for myself till the day I die. Do you know what I mean? And so then our business just gets to be, well, now I do that with my clients, so it gets to be an expansion. And I think when we lead with that integrity, and then how can we serve? And they always say, don't you, if you don't feel right, serve somebody else. And then it's a bit like Reiki. It comes through you for your client, your patient, but you get the beautiful energy that comes through too.
Yes. Yes, you do. And that's it. Like, if you would self, meaning I am serving my highest good, and then I get to make money doing it. Like, I also get to make money doing it. I'm serving my highest good by doing what I do, but I also get to make money doing it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to check through these comments. Somebody was asking some comments earlier, and I just want to say, yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Share this out if for anybody you know needs to hear this, because I love talking about money. I love it, and wealth and all the good stuff. Chrissy says I need this in more ways than one today. Yay, I love that. So let's just see what comment we got here. I am I think it was yesterday you were talking about appreciation versus gratitude. If we're in a vibration of appreciation, the gratitude, then the wealth follow. You ladies rock. Yeah, 100%. I love this. I love that embodiment. Awesome. So Victoria, I don't want to keep you too long. I would love to know, and I'm sure the viewers would, where can people find you? Where can they come and find you?
I have a complimentary Facebook group called the Soul Rich Society. We do morning meditations every single morning in there, because I firmly believe in starting your day in the frequency of connection with source energy. And every Friday I do complimentary business coaching sessions on Fridays. And then once a month inside the group, I do card pulls. We do a night where we have card pulls and card readings and have a whole bunch of fun in there. So come see me inside the Soul Rich Society.
I love it. So just give us a quick glimpse. How is life for you now?
It is so different than 2 years ago. So different. I just, and again, the money is the byproduct of this inner work. You know, I don't want it to look like ego. I want it to look like my desires are now showing up. I just bought my dream car, my Mercedes E300 last month. We are living right near the beach in a beautiful space. This is a temporary space because we're in Florida and we're waiting for a bigger house to come available, but it's still this beautiful gated community with all kinds of services. And we're vacationing and we're traveling, and I'm able to buy things for my son that I never dreamed possible. And it's a result of doing this inner work. I mean, when I say I worked as a nurse for 25 years and I struggled all 25 years of my adult life working. I struggled with money, and now there's overflow. There's money in the savings account. There's extra money in the checking account. There's investment money. Like, there's overflow now, which there never was in my life before. And being a single mother, I was always, one of my beliefs, one of my blocks was, my father told me all my life, just marry a millionaire. Just go marry a millionaire and you'll be okay. You'll be taken care of. And so I had to, because in my mind, I was waiting for that millionaire to arrive and save me from my financial woes. And the truth of the matter is, no one can save you from your finances, even winning the lottery. No one can save you from your blueprint, your money blueprint. You have to rewrite it.
Yeah, 100%. And you're now abundance, and you know, I want to make it really clear, this is not about the money. It's all about the money and not about the money. Because, you know, when you haven't got it, it's all about the money. And I've got a client who has over 500 or 1,000 pounds in the bank and is unfulfilled, not happy. So it's not about the money. And I think that's a great way to end. It's all about the money. It's not about the money. You know, it's just whatever the blueprint is, whatever we make it mean. We're all entitled to wealth. We're all entitled to the money, but it comes from the inside.
Equally. And the last thing I want to say, money is literally limitless. And if you don't believe it, just look around your city. Look at all the cars. Look at all the buildings. Look at all the money that's in flow, that the currency that is in. Money is limitless. There's nothing back in our system. Money is limitless. And every time you create something, you're creating more money.
Yes, 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 yes. I love you. Thank you so much for this, Victoria. Mwah. And thank you everyone for watching. And I will see you all soon. Go find Victoria. She's incredible. I love you.
I love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.